So in activity 12, we're asked to import a font onto our web page. And we're going to be using Google Fonts, which I've got loaded up over here. And we need a little snippet of code, which looks like this one over here, an import URL. So I'll go back and show you how I got that in a second. So we're going to import that code into the CSS section. So I'll just rejig my page here. So I've got HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Not going to need that JavaScript at the moment, but I will need CSS. And from Google Fonts, if I went back, this is what you're presented with. There's a lot of different fonts on this page, so you can streamline this a little bit by going to categories and maybe selecting one that you're trying to get it to look like. So I know with mine, I want something that looks like display writing. So I'll scroll down. I really like this one here. So I'll click on it, and sometimes you've got some different sizes or some different thicknesses to choose from. In this one I've only got one, so it's select this style. Now we're reviewing it. Yes, that's the one we want, because what we could do is go through and select another font. So I'll show you that right now. If I know I wanted this one as well, I would select this style. And if I wanted another font, I'd click on this one. And this one is what I was talking about. You've got different weights to choose from. I'll go the medium one here. And you can see in the review section, I've got 3 different fonts to choose from. Now, when I click over to embed, it's going to give me some code which lets me import all those 3 fonts in one snippet of code. So if I click on import now, not link, import, and I don't want the style tag there or the style tag there, so I want everything in between, the import code. I'll copy that by Control C. I'm going to paste that into my CSS. Very important that you get the semicolon at the end, otherwise it won't work. So I'll come back over, and over here I've got my CSS or my import code to use it, but my website, if I refresh, doesn't know where to use it. So I need to come back down the bottom here and get my code to apply it to the different tags that I've used up above. And now I need to use some code here to say, when I see H1 and the curly parentheses brackets is what's pretty standard in CSS and JavaScript as do this. So when this happens, do this. Okay, and next tag I've used is H2. So when this happens, do this. And the last one I've used is a P tag, which doesn't have any text yet, although it should go over the button. So we'll see if that happens. And we'll bring that up to there. So if I refresh, CSS is talking to Google Fonts. It'll choose those fonts that we just chose, and then the CSS is telling the HTML to follow these styles. So if I refresh, it has there and there. The button, I thought I might have to do this, actually specify button. There we go, and it's changed over because the P tag, we don't actually have a P tag, so I'll put one in just up above here, and you can see it's got the text as well. Alright, so the next thing on here, we've imported it, we've specified it for each tag, change the font size, and it's giving us some code to use. Font size and then a number with PX after it. So this can be done for everything with an asterisk, and we can say font size 20 px, then everything will change to 20 px, or 30, or 40. But often you don't really want to change everything, so we won't be using the asterisk code. The heading, I want the heading to be quite large, so I want to say font size colon, not semicolon. Let's try it at 30 px pixels. No, I definitely want it bigger than that. That's good. The heading 2, which is the jacaranda trees from Grafton, I'm going to come down here, font size. Let's try 20 for that. No, too small. Double that. That's pretty good. Not really happy with the way this stands out. So I could actually try something here. So we've got color up here. Now, we don't need these style snippets of code in our HTML anymore because we've started using CSS. We didn't need it CSS before because we had it all in our HTML. But because our web page is growing, it's getting bigger, it's using more tags, that's when CSS comes in. So I'm going to take that style color of that color and make it, because the example here that I'll give is if I have a heading 1 tag now and I refresh that, it's not the same color. It's the same font and size because I've set it in the CSS, but it's not the same color because I've, in the HTML, added a style tag. So I would need that inside this one here and every other heading 1 tag for it to listen to it. So I want to show you that you can do this in one go in CSS, and that's where CSS comes in handy. So I'm going to paste that code in. However, it's a little bit different when you get down to CSS because the color's still the same, but we don't need style. So with one snippet of code, I've told 2 things to do one color. So this can happen over and over and over. So you can see how as your website builds, it's going to have a lot of code to run, and it's really handy if you've got the CSS telling the HTML what to do, because you don't have to individually type in style every time you want to change a color. So I'll get rid of those 2 now because we don't need them there. I just wanted to show you that that's why we use CSS. And as I said before, I'm really not happy with the jacaranda trees from Grafton, so I'm going to find that. That's here. And again, I'm going to take out the extra styling that I've put in here, pop it into the CSS, and it should still be the same color, but I want to add something else. I want to add a background color to it, and maybe we'll try that FFF. That was white. Alright, so you've got a banner that goes across, which looks pretty neat. I think I even need to do it to my heading 1 background color. Let's try 000, which is black. And then we've got our little text down the bottom here, which we've got one more thing to do. Apply a drop shadow to, but it says the heading tag. So I'm going to come back into heading 1. It's going to be hard to see, isn't it? Because it's black behind. So the code for that was text shadow. There was a couple of bits of code after that. 2px, 2px, and then a color. So what that's referring to, colon, not semicolon, is how far in this first direction, how far in the second direction, and what color do you want me to put? So it's actually worked out pretty well because this is red, this color, by the look of it. I'm not sold on how far the pixels are. That looks a little bit better for me. And I might even try to switch that over so it's going to the left. And up like that. That looks a little bit better for me. I think if the font size was bigger, it'd probably stand out a bit. There we go. Now, I actually think that red is clashing a bit, so I'm going to switch it over to white. Looking better so far. We're adding little improvements to this. So just to come back and check I've got everything. Change the font size, yes. Apply a drop shadow to the heading, yes. So if you wanted to explore what text shadow things you could add in, because there's lots of options there, or text decorations you could choose. You could check out W3 Schools. But for now, for this activity, I'm done. So I'm going to save my work and export it.